Yeah, we have more chairs. Let's bring them around. And then if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves and tell us a little bit about you, what you're doing, and then we'll go into your presentation.
We all have
Do we
chairs.
have another YouthCity? Is it
Yes,
just you
ma'am.
four?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry. We saw two others, and I thought, okay, why don't you start here and tell us your name and...
My name is Dati Uman. I'm a freshman at West High School.
Yes, once a Panther, always a Panther.
Yeah. I'm glad you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Sophie. I'm a sophomore at Roland Hall.
Roland Hall?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jasper Thomas. I'm a senior at the Salt Lake School for the Performing Arts.
Great.
My name is Erica Strand, and I'm a junior at Judge Memorial Catholic High School.
Okay. It's a good group.
Do I just start?
Yeah, you can go right into it.
Okay. Hi. Thank you, Salt Lake City Council members and Mayor Jackie Biskupski, for providing Youth City government the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dati, and I'm a freshman at West High School. It is a pleasure to be here. Before I begin, I would like to extend a special thank you to my fellow Youth City government members, as well as our advisors, Angela Romero, Damian Choi, Gregoria Alegria, and Amy Lorette, as well as the Division of Youth and Family Programs and the Department of Public Services for supporting me and granting me this opportunity. I've spent the better part of last year being part of the Youth City government program, and doing so has given me the opportunity to delve into the political sphere. Today, I speak for the youth of Salt Lake City. Youth are especially privileged in ways that most adults are not. We have no glass ceiling. The totality of our short existence can be summed as such: make a mark upon the world you walk. We're not fond of rules, and we have no respect for the status quo. Children are crystal clear on right and wrong. We have, usually, no reason to investigate the gray areas of life. So when we protest for Bears Ears National Monument not to be reduced by 85%, we don't see them mining oil, gas, or monetary funds. We don't envision that. We know what right is, and we feel it's black and white. As youth, we rally, protest, and cry. We gather at the steps of the Capitol to petition on behalf of Bears Ears, gun control, climate change, and abortion rights. But much too often, we leave those steps and lead lives unchanged. But in those moments where we are recognized and we are heard, those are cause for celebration, because we created this change and we own it. From the over 3,000 scientists who signed the letter in Science magazine, written by youth advocating for climate change awareness, to lawmakers across the nation acknowledging severe lack in gun reform and policy and guaranteed safety, we memorialize these moments. We appreciate all the change that you have made. Thank you so much for pushing Salt Lake City to be 100% energy renewable by the year 2032. You don't know how proud we are, because by the time this change has been enacted, it will be us sitting upon the dais, and we can do more. I live 2 blocks from the Road Home Shelter. I've lived there all my life. I've been there for Operation Rio Grande, and when City Creek opened and Gateway Mall became a shell of what it once was. In true realism, though I live only 2 blocks from the Road Home Shelter, I lead a very privileged life. But I will not stop till I'm able to use my privilege to help raise others to the same bar. You as elected officials have that privilege, the privilege to make change, directly, without a go-between. To know that one life has breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. So help us breathe easier, help us breathe cleaner. Help us help them. These are the people you don't see, but these are the people I do. These are the faces I see when I walk through West High School, and these are the faces who need change the most. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate. If they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Nelson Mandela. Thank you for the privilege of your time.
All right. Hello, as I said, I'm Sophie Dow, a sophomore at Roland Hall, and I've been a member of YCG for 2 years. People say that students are the future, but how can we justify our future when thousands of teens are dying from gun control and suicide gun violence and suicide each year with no resources in place to help them? And while adults continue to deny us adequate resources to help our generation survive, Students try to stand up and speak out, yet often get shut down for being too dramatic. Is it really dramatic if we have to worry each day about losing a friend to suicide or gun violence? We need your support to be able to save our generation and create a better future for us all, and that's why I'm here today. First, I want to begin by talking about mental health. YCG partnered with the Salt Lake City Mayor's Office and hosted the Start the Conversations SLC Teen Suicide Awareness in September. This event was inspired by last year's Youth State of the City. Utah's suicide rate was 22.1% in 2018, compared to 13.6% across the nation. And members of the LGBTQ+ community are 4 times more likely to consider suicide, and 8 times more likely if when individuals don't feel accepted in their own homes. We need more resources in place to help people and students. Adults need to stop blaming the issue on social media and actually realize that there are fundamental problems in our community and institutional structures that have led to this increase. The efforts of implementing Safe UT, an app used in our schools to report violence and have access to a counselor if necessary, is a step in the right direction, but there is also progress to be made on a fundamental level. We need to address the community we live in and why suicide rates are so high, including the treatment of LGBT+ students who are more likely to be kicked out of families and communities for their identity. Secondly, in terms of mental health, YCG members think that schools need to provide more productive ways to discuss mental health, school violence, and address trauma. Without resources and full-time mental health professionals in our schools, students can find themselves with no one to turn to if they need help. Having a trusted professional who can devote time and resources to specific students can encourage conversations and better mental health of the student population. Not only do we believe that more counselors are necessary, but we also discuss the benefits of a smaller student-to-teacher ratio. As someone who attended public school but now attends private school, I found that forming connections with teachers helped me care more about my assignments, and I felt I had more of a support system in place if I ever needed help. If public school teachers weren't responsible for so many students, I know they would be able to identify problems with students earlier and to be able to help if necessary. For example, I had a friend who lost a family member and struggled to stay on top of school, but with the help of our counselor, she was able to gain direct assistance from not only our counselor, but our teachers so that she could stay on top of her coursework. We need more resources directed to education to help students recover from mental health and traumatizing situations. Third and finally, there is still yet to be any major gun reform in Utah, despite the many protests and lobbying in the past years. Through YCG, I've been able to attend the Utah Gun Safety Coalition dinners, where different gun safety groups convene about once a month to discuss gun reform. Though I heard presentations of completely reasonable gun laws proposed here, none got passed in the legislative session. Instead, politicians choose to ignore the safety of the children and their citizens to protect the Second Amendment, even though gun restrictions wouldn't harm the Second Amendment. For example, a bill where guns are restricted in school zones didn't pass, yet the Stand Your Ground bill did. In this circumstance, it seems the majority of our legislators are ignoring us and deciding to risk our lives so that they can have guns. We should not have to be worried when we walk into school every day about where we can safely hide if a shooter came into the room, but instead should be focused on learning and testing, 2 things that are necessary for our future. We should not have important classes interrupted once a month to have a shelter-in-place drill, with teachers and faculty stomping around and shaking doors to show us how frightened we should be of the possibility of attending school. There needs to be some action taken on gun control, and all of my fellow students would agree with that. Now I'd like to end my speech with a proposal. As a member of YCG, I believe that youth should have a more involved role in our government. Though I understand that students can't take roles for many reasons, I do think the city could help students become more active, especially on a local level. I think if there is some way that the council could hold meetings specifically for teens so we can hear what you're doing and also tell you what we think needs to be done, then many more students would take an interest in government and adding their voice. Since policies do affect us, even though we can't vote, it is only fair that we have a way to give our input as well. I hope you take our speeches into consideration for your future meetings and future policies. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Biskupski and council members. As you know, my name is Jasper Thomas. I've been a member of YouthCity government for a few years now, this being my last year. The environment is perhaps the most vital thing that we, the people, can do to protect it in order to secure a future for generations to come. As it stands now, breathing clean air should be a top priority for all Utahns. Utah's Wasatch Front experiences poor air quality episodes during both summer and winter due to our unique weather, topography, and emissions of pollutants. During the summer, High pressure during the summer leads to elevated ozone levels, while inversions during the winter traps unhealthy concentrations of PM 2.5. While we will never eliminate or fix the ozone levels and the inversion issue, we can change personal habits and advocate for clean air policies to prevent further damage to our earth and our health. The community needs to be educated on these issues, and the need for more programs and more funding for them has never been more needed until now. The air quality that people experience is only going to get worse if we continue to remain on the path that we are walking on. People all over the world are facing the same issue that we face in regards to air quality, perhaps even worse than we already are. Having funds for programs that educate our youth and our peers would help improve air quality and reduce the risk of health issues that people will continue to experience. Last November, YCG hosted the Breathe Cleaner Air Festival at the Glendale Branch Public Library. We organized the festival to educate and spread awareness about our air quality here in Utah and what people can do to help improve it. Participating in this event, I was able to learn more about PM 2.5 particles in the air and how it affects our health and our environment. YCG will host another event called Environment and You on this Saturday at the Rose Park Community Center. We will be focusing on energy efficiency. YCG received a grant from Utah Clean Energy to provide low-flow shower heads to members who reside in the 84104 and 84116 zip code areas. The goal is to assist these households in reducing energy and water consumption. At the event, community members can also participate in the light bulb exchange, switching out their current light bulbs for LED ones. Once again, I would like to thank Mayor Biskupski and the council members for allowing me the opportunity to speak here tonight. Protecting our environment is important, especially when our air quality is in its current state due to our apathetic attitude towards it. It is imperative that instead of pointing out what is not being done to help the environment, that we aim to better ourselves and do what we can to protect the environment that we live in. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erica Danielle Cecilia Strand, and I'm a junior at Judge Memorial Catholic High School. YCG is about opening the doors to change and having your voice heard. This is my first year participating in YCG, and through my participation, I have gained new experiences such as volunteering at the Breathe Clean Festival, participating in an affordable housing roundtable discussion with advocates, discussing gun policy with my peers and the effect it has on us in our schools, and so much more. To me, as an individual, though, YCG is about more than just having the hard conversations. It is about allowing everyone to sit at the table together, regardless of who they are and how they identify. Some of us have more privileges than others because of our gender identity, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, ability, or income. For many people, because of who they are, doors do not easily open. They will never have a seat at the table to have those hard conversations if we do not acknowledge our own privileges. Our responsibility as people already seated at the table is to start by acknowledging that the door is shut and recognize that sometimes we are the ones pulling it shut. But letting go of that handle is oftentimes not enough. Equality is about seeing the shut door, acknowledging that it should be open for everybody, and pushing it open with them. We need to allow the conversation to be heard and contributed to by all. That is what YouthCity government is to me. A place where we have the hard conversations, work towards making our community a better place, and push the doors open so that others may join our voices and our conversation to make sure that we are all heard in Salt Lake City. As youth, we are often forgotten. Our voices are lost in the shuffle, or our thoughts and ideas are deemed inferior to our elders due to our age and position in society. Here, we have a voice and a strong will to make sure that it is not only heard, but listened to and acted upon. We are the future and the now. We are the ones whose lives are impacted by elected officials' decisions, but whose voices are often lost when the decisions are being made. We have opened our doors. We plead with you to push yours open with us, have the hard conversations, and make Salt Lake City a better community now and for our future. Thank you.